Ladies and gentlemen, the Republican nominee for President, Donald J. Trump, and the Democratic nominee for President, Hillary Clinton.
We received a lot of questions online, Mr. Trump, about the tape that was released on Friday. As you can imagine, you described kissing women without consent, grabbing their genitals. That is sexual assault. You bragged that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I apologize to my family. I apologize to the American people. You know, when we have a world where you have ISIS chopping off heads, where you have, and frankly, drowning people in steel cages, we should get on to much more important things and much bigger things. I have great respect for women. Nobody has more respect for women than I do.
Secretary Clinton, do you want to respond?
He has said that the video doesn't represent who he is. I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is. I want to send a message to the entire world that America already is great, but we are great because we are good. And we will respect one another, and we will work with one another, and we will celebrate our diversity. That this is the America that I will serve if I'm so fortunate enough to become your president.
It's just words, folks. It's just words. Those words, I've been hearing them for many years.
When I hear something like that, I am reminded of what my friend Michelle Obama advised us all. When they go low, you go high.
The thing that you should be apologizing for are the 33,000 emails that you deleted. People have been, their lives have been destroyed for doing 1/5 of what you've done. And it's a disgrace. And honestly, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Secretary Clinton, I want to follow up on that. I'm going to let you talk about emails.
Because everything he just said is absolutely false, but I'm not surprised. Really? Just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton, I want to give the audience a chance
you'd be put in jail, let alone after getting a subpoena from the United States
Secretary
Congress.
Clinton, you can respond. Then we have to move on to an audience question.
Look, it's just not true, and so please
you didn't delete them?
Allow her to respond, please.
Personal emails, not official.
33,000? Yeah,
well, we turned over 35,000, so it was.
What about the other 15,000?
Please allow her to respond. She didn't talk while you talked.
Yes, that's true. I didn't.
Because you have
I didn't
nothing
in
to
the
say.
first debate, and I'm going to try not to in this debate because I'd like to get to the questions that the people have brought here tonight to talk to us about.
And get off this question.
Okay, Donald.
The first one goes to Secretary Clinton because you started out the last one to the audience.
If he wants to start, he can start. Go ahead, Hillary. No, go ahead, Donald.
No, I'm a gentleman, Hillary. Go ahead.
Secretary Clinton?
She complains that Donald Trump took advantage of the tax code. Well, why didn't she change it? Why didn't you change it when you were a senator? The reason you didn't is that all your friends take the same advantage that I do. And I do.
I'm sorry I have to keep saying this, but he lives in an alternative reality. And it is sort of amusing to hear somebody who hasn't paid federal income taxes in maybe 20 years talking about what he's going to do. But I'll tell you what he's going to do. His plan will give the wealthy and corporations the biggest tax cuts they've ever had. Donald always takes care of Donald and people like Donald, and this would be a massive gift. And yes, when I was a senator, I did vote to close corporate loopholes. I voted to close, I think, one of the loopholes he took advantage of when he claimed $1 billion loss that enabled him to avoid paying taxes.
She doesn't do anything about anything other than talk. With her, it's all talk and no action.
Here we go again. I've been in favor of getting rid of carried interest for years, starting when I was a senator from New York. But that's not the point here.
Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it?
Because I was a senator with a Republican president.
Oh, really?
I will be the
president. You could have done it. If you were an effective, senator, you could have done it. If you were an effective senator, you could have done it. But you were not an effective
Please allow her to
senator.
respond. She didn't interrupt you.
You know, under our Constitution, presidents have something called veto power.
Regardless of the current rhetoric, would either of you name one positive thing that you respect in one another?
I respect his children. His children are incredibly able and devoted, and I think that says a lot about Donald. I don't agree with nearly anything else he says or does, but I do respect that. And I think that is something that as a mother and a grandmother is very important to me.
I consider her statement about my children to be a very nice compliment. I don't know if it was meant to be a compliment, but it is a great. I'm very proud of my children. I will say this about Hillary. She doesn't quit. She doesn't give up. I respect that. I tell it like it is. She's a fighter. I disagree with much of what she's fighting for. I do disagree with her judgment in many cases. But she does fight hard, and she doesn't quit, and she doesn't give up. And I consider that to be a very good trait.
Thanks to both of you.